In this video, we will demonstrate how to rebuild one of Automation Direct's LACP2 series of linear actuators. This is the second generation of compact slides. If you have a first generation, please refer to the rebuild videos for that series. You can find the written instructions on Automation Direct's website by following the link on the product page. I would encourage you to either have the instructions available online or simply print them out and have them handy while rebuilding the slide. I'm rebuilding an LACP2-16T 36L1 slide that has 36 inches of travel and a 1-inch pitch, which will require the repair kit with 1-inch lead screw pitch. There is a separate kit for the lead screws with 0.5-inch lead screw pitch. The instructions are the same for both kits. This slide has a damaged lead screw nut, so it would be a perfect example to rebuild. Let's begin. I'm using the rebuild kit part number LACP ACC-007. This kit comes with 2 bearings, 1 slide liner, 2 flathead cap screws, 1 lead screw nut, and 1 lubrication pin applicator. You'll need the following tools: 1.5mm, 2.5mm, and 5/64" Allen wrenches, Loctite 425 thread locker fluid, cleaning towels, and safety glasses. I also have a 12mm combination wrench, a torque wrench, acetone for cleaning, and protective gloves. First, using a 2.5mm Allen wrench, loosen the shaft coupler on the linear slide side, not the motor side. Remove the 4 motor screws and remove the motor and coupler. Loosen the lock nut set screw with a 1.5mm Allen wrench. Don't take the set screw out, just loosen it. Here's the tricky part. There is a very small brass crush washer under the set screw on each lock nut. You can see how tiny it is. Make sure you have the slide on a clean surface so you don't lose the brass washer. I put white paper under the slide so I could see the brass washer. This brass washer keeps the set screw from damaging the slide screw. You can usually remove the lock nut by hand, but if it is tight, use a 12mm wrench to loosen it. On the opposite end from the motor end, loosen the square lock nut. The instructions say that if either square nut is tight, to hold onto the carriage. On this unit, the carriage lead nut is broken, so we use a second 12mm combination wrench to hold the opposite end. Remove both square lock nuts. Again, don't lose the brass washer. Loosen the 2 tapered screws on the carriage with a 5/64 hex key. Now the carriage assembly should be loose. Once both square lock nuts are removed and the carriage assembly is disconnected, pull the lead screw out through the motor end. Slide the carriage assembly off of the opposite end. Remove lead screw bearings from each end and discard. Remove the lead screw nut. Clean all components with acetone and inspect. Now we can start to reassemble the unit. Install the new lead screw nut onto the lead screw. Lubricate the lead screw. There is a spring in the bottle you can use to help mix up the lubricant in case there was any settling. Apply a little lubricant to the lead screw and slide the new lead screw nut the full length to check for tightness. Clean up any buildup and debris that may prohibit travel. Install a new bearing on the motor or drive end of the lead screw and install one of the square lock nuts. Make sure to reinstall the brass crush washer. I use a little dab of grease to hold the washer to the end of the set screw and insert the set screw facing up so the brass washer does not fall out. Do not tighten the set screw. Install the new slide bushing liner. Make sure the tab on the back is properly seated into the slide carriage. Insert the lead screw into the motor side of the base. Make sure the bearing is fully seated in the base. Install a new bearing on the opposite side. Install the lock nut with brass crush washer. Tighten the square lock nut, but do not tighten the set screw yet. Using a 2mm Allen wrench, loosen the 2 slide adjusting screws on one side, then repeat on the opposite side. Carefully slide the carriage onto the slide tube. We can now slide the carriage from end to end freely. The instructions say to vigorously move the slide carriage. Now we can adjust the slide bushing bearings by using a 2mm Allen wrench to tighten in very small increments. Then test by vigorously sliding the carriage back and forth. Once the bearings have been adjusted, we can attach the carriage to the lead screw nut. Apply Loctite 425 to the threaded holes of the lead screw nut and to the 2 flathead screws. Be careful not to get any Loctite on any of the sliding surfaces. Align the carriage to the lead screw nut, insert the 2 flathead screws and tighten. The recommended torque is 6 inch-pounds. At this time, both end square lock nuts should only be finger tight. Move the carriage from end to end to test for ease of motion. Readjust to eliminate any clearance issues. Make certain the bearings are seated against the shoulders. Over-tightening the end nuts on the bearings can lead to premature bearing failure. Once tightened properly, tighten the set screws on both ends. Reassemble the coupler and the motor. Use the lubrication pin to apply a liberal amount of lubricant to the slide tube and the lead screw. Move the carriage through the full travel to ensure the lubrication has been distributed. Wipe away any excess lubricant. If you have any questions about these linear slides, please contact Automation Direct's free award-winning technical support team during regular business hours. They'll be happy to help. Thank you for watching.